Well, last night was definitely an interesting Game Awards, that's for sure. There were so many competing games in all kinds of categories. 2023 was a strong year for video games, and it was cool to see everyone come together, from Jeff Keighley, developers, actors, voice actors, and much more. Last night was the first time that I felt like the video game industry is beginning to reach out to more and more people. I mean, big names like Matthew McConaughey, Anthony Mackie, Timothy Chalamet, actors from the Fallout series, musicians, and a lot of other people as well. Now, before we get into the rest of the video though, if you enjoy this type of content and like anything video games related, consider subscribing to the channel for more. Also, give the video a like to help this video and the channel grow. The support is always much appreciated. Now, let's talk about the Game Awards. I personally think that this year's Game Awards was interesting for a lot of reasons. I know last year Jeff Keighley had mentioned they had issues keeping the entire program under control in regards to time and spreading things out in a fair way. I completely understand this because they're long and there's a lot to show from awards, categories, announcements, and so on. So this year, I'm assuming they informed nominees or people on stage to keep things short, to keep everything moving, well organized, and that's what happened. You would have Neil Newbin win Best Performance, but have no time for a speech. Neil Druckmann's work on The Last of Us TV adaptation, and he would go on to win the Best Adaptation, like 30 seconds to speak. But then you have Hideo Kojima come on stage and discuss a video game he's working on for like 8 minutes, just to let us know that it is a game. Now, I know Jeff Keighley really likes Hideo Kojima. He's done a lot for the video game industry, but you can clearly see the bias that he has allowing Hideo Kojima to talk this long. But telling winners of a category to wrap it up in all caps after about 20 seconds on a screen way in the back. Now, I see that as a way that's very disrespectful and unfair to the winners. Now, something that I do want to note and I think was awesome was the dropped mic jab towards the Call of Duty campaign from Christopher Judge, talking about how his 8-minute speech from last year was longer than this year's Call of Duty's campaign. That was awesome. But all in all, I don't really have any issues with the category winners. I thought all of the titles and the people mentioned deserved everything that they won, because I strongly believe that this year was stacked for all kinds of gamers, and that's something that I really loved about this year's games in general. Something else I'd like to mention as well is the trailer fest that this Game Awards was. I feel like the pacing was great for maybe the first half or the first hour and a half. A lot of the games shown didn't really appeal to me as a whole in the entire Game Awards, but I understand if a lot of these games appealed to other people, giving indie developers the limelight so they can truly show off what they've been working on in an environment such as the Game Awards must be exciting for them. There were so many times we'd have to wait so long to hear something about the next category. We'd have like 5 trailers or announcements back to back, then go on commercial break. It would take so long. And again, giving the winners of that category 20 to 30 seconds to talk, then back to the announcements and the commercial breaks. I understand you have to have a schedule in place to keep things moving smoothly, but I just don't think this was it or the play. I think there could have been trailers cut shorter, less things shown, or even some events like the Muppet part of the show removed entirely, giving more of a focus on getting the categories mentioned or out of the way. My biggest issue with all of it was that I'm watching because I want to see people receive awards and show their gratitude for the great things that they create. I also want to watch them thank all of the people that help support them, the skills they've learned, and the places that have given them the opportunity to complete what they won the award for. I don't want to see commercial breaks every so often, and it certainly didn't have to be drug out as long as it did either. Again, I love the fact that indie developers are given the light to show what they've been making. I just don't understand why there has to be so much of it at the Game Awards. I think trailers or half of these announcements could be made somewhere else at another gaming event made specifically for those announcements or to show off gameplay. I'm not saying to get rid of gameplay entirely from the Game Awards. I just think if there's an issue with time, things need to be consolidated better to give winners more time to talk and give them enough time to do a proper speech. That's just my take. And I want to take a minute to talk about the announcements that were made though that really caught my attention. And I'm talking about the Dragon Ball game. I loved playing all of them as a kid. Even loved the Xenoverse games as I became older, and Dragon Ball FighterZ. That was very good too. Blade being developed by Arcane Studios, going back to their roots with single player. I think that's going to be a great studio to take over the character. I just hope they go away with the brainstorming that came up with Redfall altogether while making this game. But we'll see. Sega making a huge comeback by announcing 5 games they're working on had me shocked. And they made it sound so casual too. Like, yeah, here are 5 games that we're currently working on, and none of them are Sonic. Like, okay, wasn't expecting that. A Jurassic Park survival game that appeared to be first person. Not really sure how I feel about that one just yet. I'd like to see a little bit more gameplay or some more details before I make any judgments on that one. A new collaboration game between Supermassive Games and the developers of Dead by Daylight to make a single player game could be interesting. Hellblade 2 finally showing off some gameplay. The tone is very brutal and gory. I never played the first one, but what was shown makes me want to go back and play it before I get my hands on the second one because it looks super interesting. A new Monster Hunter game that has gotten me very excited. I love those games so much, and there are so many more games that were announced. A lot of JRPGs too, so if that's your sort of thing, you might have liked a whole lot of these announcements. I just think having as much as they did was just overwhelming and a lot to take in, especially if they're going to rush people. Don't overload it if you're already having issues with time. Those are just my thoughts. Moving on to the main event though, Game of the Year. Baldur's Gate 3 was no surprise for me when it won Game of the Year. It was my personal pick. Larian deserves all of the praise that they will receive for this video game, and I hope they continue to make more games and not just Baldur's Gate, because we need more studios that craft that type of quality in the video game industry. I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3 since it was in early access, and I've seen the struggles the game went through, but I've also seen the progress it has made as well. They know how to communicate well with their audience, and the level of immersion, choice, and free will they give the players in this game was astounding. There are so many choices and different outcomes that you can achieve in this game, and I'm still finding new things as I play through the game with 3 different characters at the moment. Baldur's Gate 3 is a treat that I wasn't expecting when the full release came out. I wish I would have played the full release sooner. I'm actually waiting to release my official review on the channel until I'm completely satisfied with everything that I've done. That way I don't miss anything. But the game is an absolute gem. That is why this game won Game of the Year. Not to take anything away from the other titles that were in the Game of the Year category, I enjoyed all of them aside from Alan Wake 2, as I've yet to play this title. From what I've seen, it looks very, very good as well. Alan Wake 2 even won Best Story at the Game Awards, so I'm very eager to try Alan Wake 1 and 2 out when I get the chance. There were so many things that the Game Awards got right, but there were moments where I thought they were lacking and struggled. But these are all my opinions on the 2023 Game Awards. What did you guys think? Are you excited for a certain game that was announced? Leave all of your thoughts and comments down below. I'd love to hear what everyone has to say regarding the Game Awards. Again, if you like this type of content where I discuss everything games related, subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. I'm still working on my Baldur's Gate 3 review as well as a few other videos, so stay tuned for those as I'll post them when they're ready. In the meantime, I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.